morning. Thank you so much for coming out, everyone. We really appreciate it. You know it's early. Awesome. Today is actually a pretty special 1 million cups for us. It is the 4th anniversary of the Dallas chapter of 1 million cups. For those of you I haven't met before, my name is Devin. I'm one of the volunteer coordinators here at 1 million cups. These are the other volunteers. They're lovely people. We have Isabel, Freddie, and Chirag. Please come find any of us if you have any questions about 1 million cups or are interested in volunteering. So thank you for being here with us on our 4th anniversary. One of our volunteers did bring some cake, so please, I think Irina, in the middle of the presentation, will probably open that up. Whenever you see the cake open, please feel free to have at it. So 1 million cups has been around for a little while now. The organization as a whole has been around for 5 years and started in Kansas City as a way to get to know local entrepreneurs and has since spread to 120 other communities across the United States. And Dallas is one of the top 10 chapters thanks to the awesome community that we have here and wonderful people like yourselves. So thank you so much for coming out and being a part of our community. And if you haven't, you should check out the 1 million cups app. It's a great way to interact with the presenters or leave feedback or to ask questions you didn't get the chance to during the presentation. And if you're new, if you wouldn't mind signing in, it's a great way for us to keep in touch with you and let you know about other 1 million cup stuff going on. So that's all I've got. I won't bore you too much. Our first presenter is going to be Ideal Privileges. Please give a round of applause to Jennifer. Thank you.
Okay, so do I click it to get going? Over there. Sorry. How do they juggle these? Can everybody hear me okay? Okay. My name is Jennifer Vines. I'm the founder and CEO of Ideal Privileges. We are a centralized SaaS solution. We are streamlining the hospital privileging process. So what are privileges? If you kind of follow through the diagram with me, Dr. Smith has got 2 different scenarios. He could either be hired by a hospital to serve as the new head of a department, or he has a private practice, but he needs to see patients at a couple of different hospitals for convenience of his patients, either emergency situations or for procedures. Dr. Smith requests a privileging application from the hospital. He then completes 1 or 2 applications. Sometimes these are still paper. Sometimes they are online standalone forms with the hospital. An administrator is going to receive that. They usually, if they're paper, they're going to have to manually enter all that information into their hospital management software. If the file is incomplete, then we have this game of tag that goes on where the administrator is trying to contact the provider is delaying, and everything is time consuming. The medical staff office will then either credential them themselves, go through all the verification process, or they will outsource that. And then Dr. Smith has privileges. But that's not the end. He has to renew those privileges. If he wants to go to another hospital and see patients, he still has to go through that process again. So the problem with the current process is twofold. It's on both sides. For providers, it's time consuming. Redundant information is being given over and over again. The few solutions that are offered today are not user friendly, and there's a delay in onboarding. For the hospitals, paper applications and forms have to be scanned. They're even still asking for some of them to be faxed, if you can believe it. Online apps may not interface with their hospital management software that they're using. Incomplete application files, and there is no standard format for all the providers in the organizations. We've got some confirmation of the problems, quotes from the Greeley Company, Texas Hospital Association, and Duff and Phelps as well. We are the solution, Ideal Privileges. So the provider, which can be a physician, a physician's assistant, nurse practitioner, even some oral surgeons will still have to have privileges at hospitals. They complete 1 universal application through us. That can be sent to multiple organizations. They receive alerts when their credential is going to expire. They can also maintain that profile for a period of time. They're going to have to renew these privileges, or if they move or relocate or they have a temporary position, they'll have to submit this information all over again. Oh, I went forward. For hospitals, complete application files are received. Our providers are not allowed to send an incomplete application file. So hospitals already get everything complete. Decrease administrative costs for hospitals. We can save a hospital an average of $80,000 per provider by shortening the onboarding time for them. We will integrate with current hospital management software through the API, and we also provide a standard format for all providers. So here's our market opportunities. This is my favorite slide. There are 1,177,000 providers in the United States right now. If you look at our average revenue of $400 per year, that's a $470 million market opportunity for us. 9,200 total healthcare organizations, hospitals, insurance companies, urgent care facilities. Average revenue right now is about $12,000 per year. That's a $110 million market opportunity. So we are using multi-channel marketing, direct outreach to facilities and providers. We are also targeting medical school conferences, career fairs. We just attended the NAMS conference in October in Colorado Springs as a vendor, which was a great success for us. We are first to market. No other software company or healthcare organization has presented this to the market. We have a patent pending. We filed that in October of 2016, and so we have protected ourselves and our intellectual property. These are our closest competitors right now. Modio, we met them at the conference about a month ago. They also allow you to store electronic documents. The providers can share those documents with healthcare organizations, but that last one is the biggest. They are not HIPAA compliant, and we are. CAQH is the old school version of what we're doing somewhat. You can store electronic documents. They receive, providers receive notices when something is going to expire and needs to be renewed. But when a healthcare organization wants to receive that information for a provider, they have to print it. And then they go to the administrator, who then has to manually enter all of that data into their software. So there's no electronic interfacing with them. We attended the NAMS conference. We have 7 companies interested in partnering with us, 42 healthcare organizations requesting a meeting with us. Revenue, touched on this a little earlier. After 36 months, our projections, 2,000 providers is only 0.17% of the total market. That decimal is correct there. Projections for the hospitals, again, after 36 months, we're looking at 200 hospitals, conservative 10% growth rate, 5% loss rate. That, again, is only 3.6% of our total market opportunity. 3-year profit and loss. We are in our seed round right now looking for $1 million to cover all of our expenses. We do have our demo that'll be ready in 2 weeks, and are scheduling meetings with organizations right now. Our team is me, Brandon Norwood, who has been 11 years in the credentialing and privileging industry, and David Motory. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. So as usual, as you ask your questions, please stand up and give your name. And the first question is, as a community, what can we do for you?
Just write me a check.
That's easy.
That was easy. No, honestly, contacts within hospitals, administrators, executives within hospitals. We, the reception that we received at the NAMS conference, which is for medical staff specialists, it was in Colorado Springs. It's their one-time-a-year national conference, and the reception that we received was overwhelming. We had medical staff specialists come up to us, and the common theme or the common response that we heard is, what took everybody so long? The medical industry, the healthcare industry is very advanced technologically as far as healthcare goes, but as far as healthcare management, they are so slow. And so we're trying to change that.
Okay. Any questions?
Anita, so just curious how you, Anita Goya, just curious how you came up on this idea. Considering your background doesn't,
Does not include healthcare, yeah. So I actually have another startup company called Ideal Admissions that is in the education industry. I centralize the application process for applying for admission for private schools. And so I took that idea, replicated that software, and put it in the healthcare industry.
Hi, I'm assuming you don't have any revenue yet, is that right?
Free revenue, yes.
And what are you going to do with your $1 million?
Spend it. No. Our focus right now is marketing. That's a big chunk of the money that we're looking to spend. But we also need to bring on sales. We need to bring on customer service. Also, with our HIPAA compliance, we have to have 2 dedicated servers. That is a huge chunk of money each month. So we have to have one server for the website itself. Then we also have to have another server for the database to maintain that database itself.
So your development is done.
About that far away. We've got a little bit on the end that we need to clean up and make sure everything runs. We're looking at our go live date of January 1.
Jennifer, great presentation. Let me ask you this. When the provider, the physician, applies, is the application always accepted, or are there rejections other than for incomplete forms?
You mean, are their privileges rejected sometimes?
Yeah.
They can be, depending on their credentials. So what a hospital will do is go through their medical license, their DEA certificate, all of their certifications that they are to have. They are calling, they're doing what's called first source verification. So they're calling the medical school, they're calling the boards, making sure that everything is legit. So if they find, some incontinuity with those, then yes, they can have that rejected.
Approximately what % are rejected for that reason?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, but that is a very good question. I need to find that out. Thank you.
How's it going? My name is Chad Kane. I do business consulting. So my background is mostly in software project management. So obviously those bells are ringing in my head.
Yeah.
So let's say you go out and sell, you land 5 new clients with hospitals. How are you going to scale up to actually offer your SaaS solution, maybe helping with implementation support, advisory, that kind of thing? What's your plan for that?
That's where the $1 million goes. We need to hire those people to do that. We're also working, our hosting company is Armor, and we're working with them in order to be able to scale up to that size.
Hi there,
Hi.
I'm Bryce.
Hi.
This seems really smart. I just sell salon chairs, so this is a lot more sophisticated than what I do. But I was curious if this has somewhat of a chicken and the egg scenario for you, like the providers aren't interested in paying $400 unless the facilities and hospitals are on board, but the hospitals aren't willing to pay the $14,000 unless there's providers asking for it. Or can you literally just go out and sell these on a onesie and twosie basis? Like, how does the sales process work when there's nobody using it?
Right. So what we're doing right now with the healthcare organizations, with the hospitals first, is we're offering that first year for free. As you can see from the numbers, or when I had that up, the money isn't really being made so much with the hospitals as it is with the providers. So if we have a hospital come on and we do not earn that $12,000 that year, we have their, call it, 1,000 to 1,200 providers that we are making money off of. So we're offering that for a year to them, but we're also setting up a process where if a provider is using Ideal Privileges and the hospital isn't, we're offering a trial period to that hospital where all they have to do is fill out a short profile and they're able to receive that information. And we've got attorneys drawing up the agreements between us, so that we can make sure that everything is taken care of.
Do they have the fax that agreement to you?
Do they have to what?
Do they have the fax that agreement to you?
Hopefully. I would hope they just mail it, put a stamp on it and just mail it to me. Yeah. It was unbelievable to hear the number of professionals say that they still have to use a fax machine at work. I mean, it was crazy. Oh, I did. After I threw it. There we go. I'm giving that to you.
I've got a quick question. My name is Roger. Sorry.
Oh, there you are.
You mentioned earlier that the hospitals could save, I think, $80,000. Is that per year, or is that over the lifetime of that
That's
provider?
per year, yes. So what we did is we took, and I believe the number started at 1.3 million is what a hospital bills out on average per provider. So right now the onboarding time with all the delays is about 5 weeks. Our goal is to reduce that to 2 weeks for onboarding. That's from the reception of the privileging application by the provider, sending it in, credentialing and everything. So we calculated that, and that 3-week period saves them about $80,000 per provider. And yes, that is annual.
Okay, thank you.
If you make everything electronic, why do you even need to do it? Why not just do this?
Can you repeat that,
I'm
please?
sorry, say that again.
Sorry. Right now you're saying that process is taking about 5 weeks and you're aiming for 2 weeks. But once everything is electronic, what's the behind the scene processing that we do?
It's the credentialing itself. So once they receive all the documents from us, once the hospital receives those, they still have to go through and verify all of those documentation, all of that documentation. That's what takes time. So that's the part that's out of our control, is how long they take to do that. Yeah.
But your system will integrate with HMS.
Yes. Yes. In fact, there are a couple of larger companies that are HMS providers that are interested in partnering with us. So.
Great pitch. Tahir Hussain, managing partner of Collide Village. Providing a question I have, providing you raise $1 million, what sort of expected run rate you have in mind that you'll be able to achieve for the investors?
I don't have an answer for that yet, but I will find one out. I don't have an answer for
I
that
think this
yet.
could be a good exercise for you to go through.
Absolutely.
Because for every dollar that you go out and raise,
Yes.
your investors are going to ask for what's the expected outcome of that.
Thank you. Okay, I will. Thank you.
We have time for one final question. That's it. Thank you for the presentation.
So, thanks for coming out. We wouldn't be here today, as in the 1 Million Cups volunteers, without the support of our wonderful sponsors. And this month, our coffee is being provided by Reap Marketing. And Mackenzie would like to come up and say a few words on their behalf. Thank you. Everyone give a round of applause for Mackenzie.
Good morning. My name is Mackenzie Turner. I work with Reap Marketing, and I also work with, I work with the founder of Reap Marketing, Bryce Macbeth, who's sneakily standing behind that pillar right there. He is a triple entrepreneur, and the reason we are sponsoring 1 Million Cups this month is to offer everyone here at 1 Million Cups the beta program that is specifically designed for small businesses and startups. We are sending out emailed ideas that are specific to your business, unique for what you are trying to do, one idea a week, and it is free. So if you would like more information, I'm trying to make it super vague, and hopefully I'm piquing your curiosity so you'll come talk to me about it more later. I also am going to speak for Rachel, who's sitting out in the very front desk with her adorable dog. Today is Dog Day at the deck. She will give anyone tours afterwards, but she also wanted me to announce that tomorrow they are hosting Project EDU. And that is an educational event. Who also happens to be speaking at this event is Bryce Macbeth. And he's giving a lot of great tips and information on how to snag sales from your competition. Doing it really well with great etiquette, but it's really good for any small business startup who is trying to get more conversions. It's a great tool. He's got worksheets and the works, so please come. It's $1 for the very first time for anyone, so it's a great event. We look forward to seeing you there. I hope you come talk to me about Ideal Funnel, which is our beta program. Thanks.
Thanks, Mackenzie. I'm Isabel Prosper. I'm your new lead coordinator for Dallas 1 Million Cups. I want to mention thanks so much for coming. We love seeing you all. We like the interaction, and definitely greet all of us when you get a chance. So it is the 4-year anniversary. I'm fairly new. Some of you have probably been here for the 4 years, which is great. 1 Million Cups was brought here by Trey Bowles and Jennifer Conley. They're both not with us today here now, but I do want to just say, special thanks. Maybe we can give them a round of applause for bringing this here to Dallas. So happy the team started with only 3 people. I think it was 2 people, and then it went to 3 people, and it grew from there. And only 10 people were in attendance at the first 1 Million Cups. Here we are now, and we have a regular attendance of at least 40 people, and sometimes as high as 100. So happy to see you all here. I recognize several faces. We love new people coming. Bring a friend with you. If you want to keep on coming as a regular thing, make it routine. Habits are good. Well, good habits are good. This is a good habit, so keep it up. Thanks so much. We do offer you to have a slice of cake. You don't have to go now. You can wait until after the next presentation. And for those of you who brought your dogs, hello to your dogs. That's it.
Also, a word on behalf of our video sponsor, Michael, here in the back. They do provide video for us and get the shows on YouTube, so if you're interested in watching later, you can do that. Michael's other company, Pet My Picture, is having an art show during the Art Walk on South Lamar this Saturday. If you're in the area, you should definitely check them out. It's very cool. They gave a presentation here a week or 2 ago, and it was very interesting. They basically Photoshop your pet's head onto your clothes, which sounds it sounds more cheesy than it is. It's actually very cool and very well done. And then thank you so much for Kurtu Treats for coming out. They're awesome. If you haven't had the chance to try some of Mircha's delicious Kurtu, please check it out. And we wouldn't be here in this space without the deck being here. So thank you so much to the deck. And I believe we also had one more announcement.
Hi guys, I'm Olia. I work for UT Dallas for our Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Tomorrow we're having a great event. We're having our finals for the Big Idea competition, and our keynote speaker is Guy Kawasaki. And we also have on our judging panel, we'll have Bob Metcalf, who is the founder of Ethernet. So we'd love to have you join us. Our URL is utdbigideacompetition.com. You can register and you can get a signed copy of Guy's book, Art at the Start. So we'd love to have you. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much to all of our sponsors again. We really appreciate y'all. You rock. And so we're going to have our last presentation for the day come up. So I'd like for you to stand and give a round of applause for our church staff from Doggo.
Okay, so to be completely honest, this is literally my first time ever pitching this project, so it's going to be an interesting experience. Okay, so Doggo is adaptive training for puppies. So right now in the United States every year, about 700,000 dogs are surrendered for behavior issues, and about 400,000 of them are euthanized without ever having the chance to find a home. And most of this can be fixed. 60% of these dogs are under 2 years old. So someone adopted a puppy, and once they brought that adorable fluff ball home, they weren't able to train it because these are their current options. They can not train the dog. They can not train the dog, which is free in the onset, but eventually will cost them and ruin furniture and behavior issues. They can go to some group classes, which can still get pretty pricey, and you have to go around your work schedule, which I don't know about you guys, but that's a lot of work to miss to go to the group classes. Or you can do boarding, which is very, very expensive, and while it does train your dog, it doesn't necessarily train you. So none of these are really a great option for a new dog owner. That's where Doggo comes in. We use adaptive learning to make puppy training affordable, accessible, and convenient. And with the adaptive part of it, that means that you're getting the same kind of training that you would get with a trainer, but in the comfort of your own home on your phone. because that's the point of technology, right? It makes things easier. So some of our key features. We're dynamically adaptive. We do have a patent pending on this, so we're very excited about that. We do time sessions, so each session is only 10 minutes long. That's better for you because we know you're busy, and it's actually better for your dog too because they learn better in these short sessions that happen every day instead of long training sessions that happen once a week. We do goal setting and tracking. We do gamification. We know you want to have fun. We know you want to compete with your friends and say, oh yeah, my dog's at a higher level than yours. And more importantly, eventually, you'll be able to say, my dog is at a level 6. That means I get a hotel discount because I can prove my dog is well trained. So that's the eventual goal. We have multi-dog support. We know you're not, hopefully, the only one in your family training your dog. And you might have more than one dog. And we also have a social portal. So, if you want to talk to the community, people who are going through the same thing you are, if you want to vent, if you've ever had a dog, even the most nicest dog owner sometimes just needs to vent about the crazy thing their puppy did or their dog did. And we have animations so that you're actually seeing exactly what to do with every task. So a little bit about how the app actually works before we move on from this screen. This is your homepage right here. So you come on this page, you have photos of your dog. If you have more than one, you can swipe to see the others. And you can choose to go to the social platform, Vet Connect, your tracker, which will take you to your growth and goal tracker, or you can ask a trainer, and then most importantly, you can click this little train button. And then when you click your train button, it takes you to the screen. Now, the key thing here is actually up here on the screen, it'll tell you where to do the training and what kind of distractions there should be. So, for example, when you start out, you should be in a safe place, like your living room, with no distractions. So that means no kids running around, no food on the tables, and that's the kind of thing that most people miss when they start to train. And as your dog gets better, we'll start adding distractions, but in a very controlled fashion. Then you have your main card here. It'll tell you what to do, and it'll show you a little animation of a stick figure doing it. And then you'll be able to say yes or no. And when you click yes, it'll act like a clicker for your dog. So you click yes, you're telling your dog, yes, you did it. You're also telling us that yes, you succeeded or no, you didn't. And we can use that yes, no data to then adapt all future tasks to better fit you and your dog. So the competition. There are a couple of apps that are trying to do similar things. These are the top 3. Puptimize, ProPlan P5, which is actually owned by Purina, we'll get to that in a second, and Pooch, which is a good option, but it's actually no longer being updated. So these are sort of our top 3 competitors. As you can see, there's a lot of things in common. They let you teach your dog new things, they do progress tracking, they're humane, they teach you some training principles, some of them even do a customized plan. But very few of them are going to manage this behavior rehabilitation. They're not going to do the dynamically adaptive training. Most importantly, they're not going to do distraction and generalization management. So if any of you in the audience have dogs, and I know some of you brought yours, which is awesome, you can teach a dog to sit in your living room. That doesn't mean they're necessarily going to sit or listen to you at the dog park. And that's what distraction and generalization training is all about. And time training, community sessions, again, we really want to be a partner to you instead of just being, that app that you use sometimes. So, with our last minute, and we can definitely come back to this in questions. This is, Lean Launchpad business plan, which you've all seen. The key here, so value propositions. We're effective training for our users. That's free and convenient. We do want this to be a free app, at least starting out. So that will mean, advertising and sponsorships being our primary form of revenue. And so we will be providing this very high visibility access to a very specific target market and giving them a brand uplift opportunity. Our customer segments, this is the other key thing I want to focus on here, is people who have just adopted a puppy. We initially wanted to do all dogs, and we might still branch out to that, but we really want to focus on what's right here in front of us and aim for that market first. So, Doggo, we're making fetch happen, and we would love your questions on how to do that. And
thank you for the presentation. So the first question that we like to ask is, as a community, what can we do for you?
absolutely. So I'm glad you asked. So I'm going to go back here to this page. One of the things that I really need right now actually is another software developer or potentially a CTO. The partner that I was developing this app with had his full-time job pretty much take over, and so he can actually no longer commit to all of his time on it. And now that we really want to take it to the next level, we really want to scale it up. And you know, backstory, I decided to work full-time on this app about a week and a half ago. So I left my job, decided to do this full-time, at least to give it a shot. So that's what I'm looking for right now, is either a company that does software development to partner with, or a specific person that really is interested and wants to take his, do this full-time. That would be awesome.
So first of all, Eric Griffin with the Dallas Regional Chamber, that was a fantastic presentation. I love that idea so much. I immediately went to the App Store to try to download it, and I didn't see it yet, so when is it available? I've got a jerk of a dog at home that I love very much, but she knocks my baby down with her tail all the time, and I need to copy, so when can I get this?
Well, it is not available yet, unfortunately, and probably won't be until we can do some more development. But we do have an MVP already, so we are getting ready to start beta testing next week.
You need beta testing, that's what I heard.
Well, unfortunately, we will be beta testing first with puppies, because we, as I said, we've narrowed our target market down, and this is actually recent. So we ran a Kickstarter campaign for this just to see if people actually cared and were interested. Kickstarter campaign failed, but we learned a lot, and we learned that we needed to do more marketing, basically. Okay. Here we go. Yes. So originally the plan was to do all dogs, and we do still want to do that, and once we get to that point, if the company grows to that point, we will probably do a subscription model, because we're hoping that people who have adult dogs and who get hooked on this as while their dogs are still puppies and get used to using the platform, is eventually they'll be willing to pay a subscription to continue to have access to new skills and new tricks and new goals. And that's where we really want to capture and keep customers eventually. To get adoption in the onset, we want to focus on puppies. The other big reason we want to focus on puppies is because the channels are much clearer. To reach new puppy adopters, while social media and traditional marketing is really important, we have a much higher chance and much higher credibility when we go through rescue groups and we go through private shelters and we go through city shelters and pet stores. Because that moment when you adopt a new puppy and you're filling out that paperwork and you're freaking out because you're like, I have this thing now and I don't know what to do. In that moment, if somebody tells you, use this app, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna use this app. Because even if you download it and try it and decide it's not for you, we'll still get that. We'll still get you trying it just because it's the first thing that somebody has put in front of you. So we want to capture that channel.
Any other questions?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Hi there. So aside from this guy's feedback and the Kickstarter campaign, did you do any kind of research or validation that people were actually interested in this as you built it? It seems like you've invested a lot into the branding and to the app and software development, all that kind of stuff. What did you do to make sure that what you were investing in was going to pay off?
Sure. So I've spent, and again, more backstory. When I didn't grow up with dogs. I had zero experience with them. I hadn't even spent probably 2 hours in a room alone with one when I graduated from college 2 years ago. But I really wanted a dog, and didn't know what to do. Traveled for work, so I couldn't actually have a dog, so I started working with rescue shelters. So actually with Operation Kindness and the SPCA of Texas, I've spent the last 2 years volunteering with them, fostering dogs, learning how to do training, learning how to work with rescues and do behavior rehabilitation and work with puppies. And over the course of that time, my journey from knowing nothing to knowing how to train a dog well was what I wanted to replicate for other people. And so over the course of those 2 years, I was an adoption counselor, so I talked to lots of potential adopters. I talked to people who had dogs. Originally, this was going to be a personal project, and as we built it, and as we started looking at, what do people want and what do people need, that's where we really started. So I've talked to 200 plus people that are part of foster and volunteer groups with rescue organizations that would like to see something like this, even for just a rescue organization and the volunteers associated with it, even if it was never a consumer product.
First of all, I want to commend you on following the lean canvas, lean startup methodology, and using the principles of evidence-based entrepreneurship. I think every entrepreneur should take this very seriously. So being a first-time entrepreneur, I think that's a great step. Question is that if you look at purely from a training perspective, how do you compete against those YouTube videos that are out there? And I was just Googling it and I found like probably a couple of hundreds of them. How do you compete against them? What's your value proposition that really differentiates yourselves compared to somebody who can go to YouTube and find some of these videos that are doing exact or part of what you are offering?
Right. So 2 main ways. One is actually credibility. When you go on YouTube and you look at these videos, you're going to find hundreds of videos. How do you know which of those videos you should actually listen to? A lot of them are going to give you contrary advice. They're going to tell you to do X, Y, or Z, and then X, Y, or Z isn't going to work for your dog. And so then what do you do? So that's really where we come in. We know people are going to look at videos. We know that we probably won't be the only resource for most people until we develop a lot more credibility. But we want to be that point of contact, and because we're being adaptive, we want to be there for you when your dog doesn't do it. So if try A doesn't work, we want to have the experience and we want to be able to tell the owner that this is what you do instead. If your dog doesn't sit, this is how you change the situation so you can teach your dog that skill. And that's something I think is much harder to convey through a video. And you're also going to spend a lot of time searching for that right video when the first one doesn't work.
Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure. Other questions?
I'm sold.
Hi, Keela. What's your current tech stack, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure. So we mostly so we have an iOS 8 app. Right now, we do need to create an Android app. We haven't done that yet. And the back end is all in AWS. So it's all it's still table-based structure. It's not graph-based. So it's still a relational database that's doing it. I'm not sure if that answered your question at all. Yes.
Roger, I have a quick question, I guess, around, so once you get that next developer, when do you think you'll have it for, so you say you're in iOS, I'm assuming you guys go to Android after that. When do you think you'll be completed?
I would love, if we got somebody tomorrow, I think we could be ready to go in 3 months. Because a lot of the back end is done. The algorithms involved with actually doing the adaptive learning, at least pre-data, are done. And so a lot of the hard work, I think, has already been done in terms of understanding what those algorithms need to be, how they relate to training principles, and how we can actually take in information and give an output that is valuable. All of that has been done. Really what needs to be done is creating the front ends and making them look pretty. And the design is already here. So it's really a matter of implementation more than anything else. And doing the beta testing and taking in that feedback and seeing if we need to adjust our UI as a result of that feedback.
Hello.
Hi, sorry.
You're fine. My name is Tyler. So obviously, if you already have the iOS app mostly built out, then it makes sense to continue with that. But it seems to me like as soon as that is to a point where you can launch, you immediately want to throw your effort into the Android app. I might have, because you're going with an advertising model and not subscription, at least to start, iOS is generally more attractive to subscription or in-app purchases because iOS owners are much more likely to spend money and spend more of it. However, because you're looking at more of an advertising base, then Android is, there's a lot more Android users. Now, again, obviously you already have an iOS app, at least mostly built out, so it wouldn't make sense to drop that and build out an Android app. But it does seem like as soon as you finish the iOS app, immediately get that Android one knocked out.
You're right. Yes, absolutely. Honestly, I would love to have both of them ready before we actually launch, just because it'll make things so much more seamless with regards to multiple owners and multiple people working with the same dog. That would be my goal. I don't know if it'll happen, but that's where I'd like to go with it.
Hi, my name is Chirag, and I'm asking for a friend. What about cats and what about ferrets?
Well, they are covered in our patent, which is nice. But as much as the principles relate, it's very different from the actual skills involved that you're trying to teach them and how they learn those skills. So, ask me again in 5 years. Maybe we'll have a cat to go with our doggo.
Okay, it's time for one final question. Do have.
Does it work for children?
Believe it or not, we've been asked that before. I'll give you the same answer. Ask me again in 5 years.
I'll wait a test.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you all. Really appreciate
Thank you so much, Rishna. That was a great presentation. I'm glad you all had so many awesome questions. Isabel does want to come up again real quick. We forgot to give away some really cool prizes.
Okay, so randomly placed under just the white chairs, I believe, there's a card, like a 1 million cups business card, and on the other side of it, it says winner. So if you happen to have that under your chair, we would love to give you a token. Yeah, okay, you can come up to the front here. There should be 4 of them for the 4 year. So the mugs are received. There should be 3 others. Okay, good. We have 2 so far. Yeah, so it's a travel mug for 1 million cups. There should be 2 others. If there's an empty chair, just check that chair. And we're gonna close. Thank you for coming today. We love seeing you. You're helping hundreds of entrepreneurs reach the stage that they need to get to, and we appreciate you for continuing to join us. Enjoy the rest of your day.